Hey Ethan, I was just having a read through LinkedIn at the moment, and I found this
Hmm.
really good article on will AI kill architecture? And the idea is that they're talking about will architecture be replaced by artificial intelligence, AI? And you and I are both using AI a little bit in our work. I use it with writing stuff, I use it with transcriptions, I use it with my
Hmm.
movie making software. It does all sorts of captions for
Yeah,
me. But
yeah,
the other thing, of
yeah.
course, is that we're using AI in architecture anyway, because we do things like generative design, where you use a polygon to start with, and you get the
Hmm.
polygon to then generate a sort of multiple of those objects. Things like Rhino, Vectorworks, they've
Yeah,
got this built-in ability to create code that you then use to, the code will then, using a starting shape, will then generate a whole lot of design for you. So
yeah,
that might suggest that architects are going to become programmers as well as architects. That is, that they're going to have the creativity, the artistic flair, but also
yeah.
the computer skills to be able to do that generative design, parametric design, some people call it. So, because what happened was I was talking to a young prospective student the other day. So I took them around, I showed them some houses, and she said to me, my parents don't want me to do this, do architecture. I thought, well, why not? You get to design the world. And she says they think that AI is going to kill architecture and that
Hmm.
I'd be better off if I went into IT instead. But the question about whether architects are going to be killed off or whether our job is going to die because of AI, it's hard to know. We don't know what's going to happen in the next 5 years with AI. If you look at what's happened in the last year, it's dramatic, the changes that it's made.
Yeah.
But the changes that have been made require an architect or a designer, architectural technologist, they require the designer to be intimately involved in the design along with AI. AI is going to do some of the grunt work for you. And I think you in the
Hmm.
past have spoken about document code checking, AI code checking,
Yes,
which
we
is going
did.
to help us a lot. Um,
Yeah,
but I don't think it. I still think that if we're going to be at the front edge of AI, we're going to have to tell AI what to do. We're going to have to put in the building code requirements that we're looking for. We're going to have to make the decisions about what the building looks like, unless we let AI do that too. So they've listed this article is listed, and I'll put the article in the show notes so that people can look at it.
hmm,
But this
yeah,
article has looked at things like generative design, building performance simulation, environmental analysis, project management, risk mitigation, analyzing data like weather patterns, soil conditions, zoning policies. AI identifies potential barriers, project management, construction automation. Um, it just lists a whole lot of stuff, which is really quite interesting. And it goes back, then it says, what can we do? What do we do as humans? Things like adding human values, artistic originality, the ethical dimensions to this. And by learning to control artificial intelligence, the way I see it is that we can, and what this article says here is, if I quote it, AI to amplify human creativity and insight throughout the design and planning process. So we can use it to expand our abilities, not to replace our abilities. I just thought it was a really interesting article, and I wondered if you had any thoughts on it.
yeah. Yeah, I was thinking about the same thing the whole day about AI. And based on my experience, we also talk about that we encounter several changes through our careers. For example, like from pen and from the paper drawings to CAD drawings, and now, and after that, Revit, not just Revit, BIMs, and etc. So what happened was, okay, we don't talk about the pen paper-based drawings. Let's recent change, which was 10 years ago, from CAD drawings to Revit. What happened was Revit opened opportunities and it solved the problems which CAD wasn't able to solve. Was it climate analysis? We solve simulations. We can create more complicated design, which CAD wasn't able to do. And we create more efficient buildings, right? The workflow has changed. There are value added, which is really good. And we solve more problems and more efficient and something. These are the benefits of BIM. So now on top of BIM, we got AI. So all the BIM software, all the CAD, uh, you know, includes AI already. and integrated. So what happens to me is like that the workflow will be people. If you think about people, there are some people who are positive, optimistic, and then pessimist. So some people, for people like us, it's AI. I don't worry. There are people who will worry about losing their job to AI. There are people who will take advantage of AI and make value added, create more, do more analysis, making use of AI. So I don't think people, the architects, will lose their job because of AI. Architects will use AI to add value of their things like what we did, what we are making use of Revit, and they will analyze more and the climate data faster than before, and they may analyze their by use of AI for the code checking. Previously, to program and to do the programming and for the building councils to do the automatic code checking was quite difficult. I think that will be benefit to the designers and the building district plans, district council as well. I think the benefits would be endless, and the contract checkings for the contractors would be doing. I think for sometimes we also use AI for the podcast as well. For example, like we analyze the articles and instead of reading everything, we let AI to read and summarize that kind of things. Maybe that's very likely use of AI. I think AI will pick up the workflow. AI will be part of our workflow and analysis, and it will create opportunity to the architect to design even more better, more energy efficient buildings. That's what my take. I don't think AI will kill our job. For example, like during the industrial revolutions, people from manual works to machines, people, some people lost their job, but over time, it will make our works life more efficient. There may be some, what should I say, learning periods, but architects also need to update with AI workflow. But over time, maybe next year or next 10 year, when we look it back, and everybody will be using AI for their workflow, for the design process. That will be new norm. That's what I think.
I know I looked at a program must be a year ago. I looked at it, and it was an apartment design with artificial intelligence. And the idea was that you would put in a lot of requirements: how big the bedroom should be, how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, what size the bathroom should be. And you would also then start to put in code requirements: what's the fire code, what's the building code, the height relation to boundary, what's the maximum height, how many car parks do you need, the land area. And it would then to start to give you suggestions for the planning of those apartments. And it would also start to analyze how efficient you were with your land usage. So this is a way of AI giving you a lot of power without taking over your job. You would also then be able to control how many apartments on a floor, how many floors you wanted, but also the arrangement of between apartments, what the acoustic separation between apartments are. And so there was an awful lot of input required. Yeah, you could actually design, a 300-400 apartment block, a 700 apartment block. You could design it really quickly in concept, but of course that doesn't design everything for you. It doesn't design all the mechanical services, the structural requirements, and it doesn't design the most important part, which is the look. Now, I've just sent you a link to a building that I do. If you have a look in the chat window, you can have a look at this building. And I suspect, so this is Foster's new building in Sunset Boulevard. And if you look at the images of this, and we'll put the link in the show notes, but if you look at the picture of this, I see this as AI giving Foster this ability to do these really cool buildings where the AI is doing a lot of work. So this is what I would call a parametric building. That is, he set the parameters for each floor, but then this building has this beautiful garden spiral that goes up through it. Now, AI, I don't believe, is going to design that garden spiral for you unless you tell it to do that. But by telling it to do that, you're still in charge. So it still needs that designer to guide this and to make it happen. And the floor plan, you can see each floor of the building, the way it sticks out and provides shade for the house, for the apartment. How do you get to choose all of that? Somebody has to think of those things to happen. And that's why I
Yeah.
think that, yeah, there'll still be work for architects. But as you say, that the Industrial Revolution, when the Luddites went around breaking up the machines, it didn't last that long. We still call those people Luddites. And I can see that you and I are going to have to teach more of this AI type stuff as part of our course. At the moment, the first thing we're going to have to introduce is the ability to write good prompts for things like
Mhm.
AI visualizers. Now, the downside of that is that now the student is going to have to know what they want, because now they have to clearly describe it. I heard a joke the other day about graphic designers, and the graphic designer was saying, I can't wait until the clients see that the clients are saying, I can get AI to do my design for me. And the answer from the graphic designer was, then you'll have to clearly describe what you want, which a lot of our problems are often the client doesn't describe exactly what they want, and it's our job to interpret it. In 10 years' time, who knows what 10 years' time is going to look like? But those are my thoughts at the moment. I just thought it was
Mhm.
interesting for us to see what we thought about.
Yeah, it's an interesting topic because I think it's clear enough for the listeners. I don't think AI will taking over our architects or architectural technologists jobs. It will make the workflow more efficient and better buildings. That's it.
Mm.
It's just part of the change from every 10 years. This happens in architectural technologies. So that's normal to me. I think in a few years, maybe that all the students or all the tutors or all the architects will make use of AIs in their designs. A few years back, we are doing generative design. That's nothing to be scared of. I think that's fine. You know. So the parents could still encourage. That's a new normal. Don't worry. Send your students to architectural technology schools. All right, you'll be fine. Your kids will be fine.
Yeah, there are lots of professions that I think AI is going to really take over. You think of how lawyers can now use AI to search for case law and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um, we use AI with our Turnitin to see whether students have copied somebody else's work. We've got students using AI already to write letters and emails, and I'm sure they're using it to write reports. So they're using it already. So yeah, what's the big deal?
Yeah, it was a big deal. Should be
Oh,
all
well,
right.
I'll stay doing architecture, Ethan. Then
We will.
nice
Well,
talking to
so
you.
what? Thank you. And what is your next topic?
Should your employer pay for your CPD? I've been doing some
Oh
research on
yeah.
this, Ethan. Talk to you next week.
All right. See you next week. Bye.